I believe Oshinoko's greatest strength has always been its way of portraying the more toxic and nastier sides to these industries that often anime don't touch upon, especially in season 1 with the idol industry. We also had a lot with the acting side. With season 2, we're diving into the adaptation side, and man, did this episode get me heated. Now here, at the end of the day, this all does boil down to the core issue is a game of telephone. Author has issues, it gets passed down the line, and by the time it reaches the person who cares the most, who takes in those criticisms, changes it, and then gets the worst end of the stick, the shit end of the stick, so to speak. And while true, if the game of telephone didn't exist, and it was just them in contact right away, it probably would have went smoother, but I do think it boils down to, I think you often see it with anime fans, and I think we also see it with authors who can't let go of their work. Now, I'm not saying there aren't adaptations that deviate too far away, but at the same time, adaptations need to be different. They do. They are a different medium. When it comes to certain mediums from manga to anime, it's an easier transition, but, there's a lot of things at play with a 2-hour stage play with actors and sets. You can't just redraw a couple of things because you don't like it. It costs money, it costs time, and in order to portray a story that's still relatively in the spirit of the original, but still needing to most likely change character motivations at times and stuff to make it fit into a shorter runtime, I mean, if you don't like it, then don't sign off for that adaptation. And it's very frustrating watching, and I mean, as our boy says, she's very childish, and it's true. And I can feel for her. I can feel the frustration she has. But it's so painful when you know that, she's in the wrong here, because it's like, okay, they have a couple of weeks. We can't just redo the whole script, because redoing the whole script means we most likely will need different sets, and how will the actors be able to memorize their lines in time and get it down perfectly, right? It's so frustrating. And the moment when you see him look at volume 14 of this manga, and he's talking about how he rearranged jobs, he sacrificed stuff to take this job because he's been reading this since chapter 1, and he got told he's basically pathetic by an author he very clearly respects. And it's so frustrating because he's literally trying to be like, I took all, every time there was new advice, I took it, and it's like, oh my god. It's so frustrating. This is what I love about Oshinoko, is it can frustrate you in the most beautiful way. It can piss you off, it can have you heated, but you're like, you wouldn't have it any other way because this is the type of drama that is so special about this show. But goddamn. Of course, I have full live reactions to all these episodes of Oshinoko. If you want to see my full uncut thought, it's going to be over on Patreon exclusively. So, oh man, the end of last week's episode was such a bait and switch because she seemed so pleasant only to then just sideswipe us with Truck-kun. Then this episode comes in and they do the rewind, and it was interesting because she goes back to that kind of sweet persona. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And the idea that they set the episode up really well because they start off by basically saying, she's been frustrated for a bit, it's kind of when you look at it from, to play devil's advocate, to look at it from the author sensei's point of view, I have these frustrations and they tell me just wait, or this or that, or, once you see the script in motion, you won't have these issues, and then she sees the script in motion and she's still frustrated. You understand, here's the thing, you understand where both sides are coming from. On all the management side, all the way down to the person who made the script and got the worst end of the stick there, to the persons whose source material feels like it's being butchered. But at the end of the day, there does need to be that give and take, as they say in this episode. And the worst part is the person at the start of the chain, which being the author, and the person at the end of the chain, that being the script writer, both probably felt like they were giving and taking, but between that game of telephone of I said it to him, they say it to this person, to this person, to this person, the game of telephone 99% of the time, it's going to be misrepresented. So most likely a lot of those changes that pissed off the author of this makes it even worse and not even what I asked for is probably true. She probably said something completely different, but by the time it goes down 5 different people's ears, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is going to make it messier, but I want to please the author. It's so frustrating, and we're at a point now where the author's pretty much saying, I'm going to do the whole script. I don't want to be paid. Hell, she was willing to take the penalty at first. And it's one of those things where this is my favorite type of drama, where even if I have, I pick a side, and in this case, I'm actually siding with the scriptwriter and the adaptation side, that things do need to be different, especially because we don't have volumes upon volumes, A lot of people who see the stage play are going to have no knowledge of the source material. They need to be able to just watch that and have a story be told to them. But I do feel for the author. And I feel like if you really walk into this episode and out of this episode with an open mind, even if you side with the author side of things, you're gonna feel for the scriptwriter, right? Like, they did a very good job that no matter which side of the debate you are, that has to be 100% perfect adaptation or it can take liberties to change things, you're gonna come out feeling like both sides' frustrations, one's on the anger, one's on the heartbreak, you're gonna feel for both sides. And that's the brilliance of this episode, and I honestly think why it makes episode 2 of season 2 one of the single best Oshinoko episodes. Now, don't get it twisted. There are some bangers. The very first episode, the jumping off scene that was attempted. Like, there's some amazing episodes of this show, but I really enjoyed this one. It kind of felt like last week there wasn't as much buzz about season 2 as I was initially thinking, you know, like, I feel like Tower of God had about the exact amount of buzz that I was expecting, but I kind of felt like Oshinoko would also have that. But I feel like after this episode, if people were on the fence about season 2, I really feel like this might jumpstart the discussion a bit more, because this is where I think Oshinoko shines. Its bread and butter is on those showing subject matters and discussions into the more toxic side and drama-filled side of these industries that a lot of anime don't portray. I think in general, after seeing what we just witnessed here, I am more excited for the stage play stuff than ever before, because you do have a lot of elements that could become very messy very quickly, because I feel like we're dealing with an author who's going to write stuff the way she wants to write it, and is then gonna say, well, that set doesn't match this script, so do it again. It's gonna get messy quick, and even if things all come together, I just feel like at the end of the day, we might have an author look at a play exactly as she wanted it, and an audience hating it because it doesn't work for a stage play medium. I feel like we could build into something like that, but goddamn, I was already like, you know, I said it in last week's video, I was actually impressed by, like, it felt like we were dealing with a production committee that cared about the source material, some more than others, but it didn't feel like a simple cash grab. It's like, okay, you know, we try to appease you, but we also have to understand that it's for a different medium, different audience. There are some changes that are going to need to be done. After episode 2, like, I'm completely on their side at this point, and I feel like we're about to watch a train wreck of a production because an author is getting their hands a little too on, which I get it. You want to protect your baby, but I don't think it's going to work out smoothly. But it's going to be great for drama, that's for damn sure. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought of this very spicy episode and how heated did it get you, because it got me a little spicy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alrighty, so today we got Shasapin, Jacob, A. Barrett, What's Down, The Drunk Crusader, and Tommy Jameson. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.